campaign against fuel scooping is yielding positive results as NOA calls for increased prioritization of concerns raised. And cashew business expected to boom in Ogbomoso, Oyo State capital, with stakeholders clamoring for more investments to unlock the potentials for economic prosperity. And stakeholders are calling for harmonization of education standards, leveraging technological advancements. Hello and thanks for joining us on the Correspondents this week. Do stay through for some educative insights. I am Zenret Dingmun. Let's begin with a fight against oil scooping. According to the National Orientation Agency, NOA, the campaign against fuel scooping is showing promising results, with feedback being channeled to government and stakeholders for swift action. And Kenneth Nanim reports that the agency is calling on relevant authorities to prioritize the concerns raised, ensuring the campaign reaches every corner of the Nigerian society.
Incidents of overturned articulated vehicles, especially tankers loaded with petroleum products, were frequently being experienced in parts of the country. When this happens, some citizens, out of ignorance or greed, throw caution to the wind, are moving to scoop the product or to loot the goods, as the case may be. Unfortunately, the overturned petrol tankers usually get exploded, most times causing loss of lives and property. As worrisome as the situation was becoming, President Bola Tinubu gave the National Orientation Agency a fresh mandate for an intensive reorientation campaign. Having been in the field to ensure the message gets to the target audience, National Orientation Agency now has feedback.
The nature of the roads, what have we done with this feedback? We're sending it back to Ministry of Works. So we're saying prioritize these type of areas. Do you understand? So that the challenge of bad roads leading to tankers toppling over will be significantly reduced.
The need to urgently establish tanker farms across the country is one of the needs the agency is pointing to that must be met.
Which brings up the issue that state governments should pay attention to creating tank parks, and make those tank parks conducive. We have also found out that in some states where those are provided, the necessary facilities are not in place, and then the place is not even large enough to accommodate the number of tankers that transit through that place and must need a place to park overnight, and all of that.
Drugs and other substance abuse amongst drivers of articulated vehicles, the agency also pointed to as a challenge that must be put on constant check.
Which means that NDLEA, in its checking that it does along the road, should be more vigilant, about this nature of drivers, conduct drug tests, on them, so as to reduce this incident of them, driving under the influence and driving tanks off the road and creating all kinds of challenges for people in various communities.
Part of the findings also reveal that some citizens are yet to understand that these petroleum products that spill or other goods that are being wasted are other citizens' investments that should be protected. They should show empathy and concern instead of going to loot, scoop, or pack the product as if they are free for all.
Then, at the level of the community, what we found out is that community members are yet to realize that when a tank topples over and the fuel begins to spill, that it is not bonanza, it's not bazaar. That this is somebody that has suffered a business mishap, and that their attitude towards it should be of sympathy rather than of a greedy nature of going to say, oh, this is freebie now, let's go and pack it, and all of that. So there are different strategies that we're deploying to address all these different causative factors.
Now, Kenneth Nanim is here to tell us more on the campaign against fuel scooping. It's good to see you again on the Correspondents, Kenneth.
Thank you, Zenred. I'm glad to be here.
Okay. Now, let's begin with the dangers associated with fuel scooping. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, you see, the scooping of fuel, is one thing that many people do not know, that it is as good as sitting on a time bomb. The risk is enormous. Especially it is a life-threatening, thing to do for people to go to tankers that are overturned, maybe as a result of road mishap or as a result of, accident or anything, a tanker that is, conveying petroleum products, eventually overturns, and people go there to scoop fuel from spilling, fuel, is very, very risky. It's very dangerous. It's life-threatening because most people do it maybe because they are ignorant or because of any other reason they may have, but it is very dangerous because any little spark, they could consume, there could be a spark of fire, the whole places will be engulfed, lives will be lost, property will be destroyed as well, lost. So it's very, very dangerous and very, very risky.
Okay, now looking at all these risks associated, what are the practical steps taken by National Orientation Agency towards addressing this challenge?
Okay, yes. The National Orientation Agency is established by government, as an institution that communicates government programs, government activities, policies of government, day-to-day runnings of government to the people. In fact, it serves as a middleman between the people and government. So whatever government is doing, in terms of policy, in terms of activities, in terms of programs, it is the National Orientation Agency that explains it to the people, making sure that the people understand, the path that government is doing at a time. Now, it is also part of their mandate to ensure that citizens, imbibe good conduct, imbibe the citizens code and all of that. It's also part of their mandate rather to also educate, sensitize the public, create awareness and all of that. So they have taken, different steps to do that. And recently, or okay, let's say in January this year, to be precise, President Tinubu came up with a fresh mandate, to the National Orientation Agency because of the frequent happening of, explosions, resulting from overturned tankers and all of that. Many people lost their life and all of that. So President Tinubu now gave the National Orientation Agency a fresh mandate, to go out there for a reorientation campaign, so to say. So the National Orientation Agency now had to, reinforce and do a more extensive campaign this time around. So that campaign was flagged off by the DG of NOA, that's Malam Issa Lanre Onilu. He was the one that, personally took media, practitioners, other stakeholders to Lambata, in Gurara local government area of Niger State. That was where that campaign, was kickstart. Then the campaign was to, continuously educate the masses, the public, on the dangers, of scooping fuel or dangers, even looting or packing, other products that may have fallen from trucks or, tankers. It's not only petroleum products, it's not only fuel that people go to speak. Sometimes when trucks and all of that, carrying goods or conveying goods to other places, have or engaged in any mishap, sometimes the locals around there sometimes go to, loot some of these things. So it's part of the campaign. So the National Orientation Agency is therefore utilizing its offices in the 774 local governments across the country, to do a face-to-face campaign, a one-on-one campaign, and again, they have also strategized by, getting the leaders of these communities, or the religious leaders or the traditional leaders, when they go into a particular community, they will gather them, they will educate them, so that as soon as they leave from that place, those community leaders or religious leaders will now continue, the campaign, educating people, enlightening them, creating awareness on the dangers of scooping fuel.
Okay, you spoke about feedback in your report, and we know that it's one thing to do a campaign, but it's also good to have feedback, which means that the campaign is working. So tell us more about these feedbacks and how it's driving, the necessary impact.
Okay, yes, there's feedback. Just like I said, that the National Orientation Agency sounds like a middleman between government and the people. So as they communicate the plans, programs, and policies of government to the people, they also collate feedback also to the back to government. So in this regard, the National Orientation Agency has also, collated some feedback. And one of the feedback they have gotten is that that's regarding the causes of these frequent overturn of tankers, on highways. One of the things they found out is that there are a lot of bad roads. There are a lot of bad roads. That's one of the feedback. There are a lot of bad roads. So because of these bad portions of the road, the tanker drivers, while driving, they are trying to maneuver, they are trying to navigate their way. Most at times in the process of trying to dodge either a pothole or trying to dodge, the bad portions of the road, you will see sometimes the tankers will overturn. And when the tankers overturns, the next thing you see is the spill of the product they are conveying. So this is one of the feedback. So they have also taken this feedback to the relevant authority, to FEMA, and also those that are in charge, to ensure that some of these roads are repaired in due course. And government is also really on top of the situation, trying to ensure that roads are repaired, just like you see massive construction of roads and bridges across the country. This is also part of the effort that government is doing in response to the feedback received from the National Orientation Agency in the field.
Okay, now Kenneth, the government's response to fuel scooping incidents and its efforts to prevent future occurrences are crucial. And on a general note now, do you think that NOA is accomplishing its targets in this regard and in a general scale?
Yes, of course, I would say so, because I know that the National Orientation Agency, has a lot of platforms, apart from their offices in the 774 local government areas where they have their staff, who go out there to talk to people, to relate to Nigerians, especially the locals. I also know that they have a lot of digital platforms. They have, even magazines that are published, fortnightly, and they also have a lot of means, avenues. They have put up, campaigns. They have put up jingles. Even here in NTA National, in Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, we also, run some of the jingles that are produced by the National Orientation Agency, to further educate Nigerians, to further enlighten Nigerians, to further create awareness on the dangers of, scooping fuel from overturned tankers. And I also know that the National Orientation Agency has also, gone into production of campaign or messages rather. They are now producing messages in 200 Nigerian languages, to ensure that, every person's language, is carried along, is identified, that people could read these messages in their languages, beyond the English language that, is the lingua franca for us here. They have gone ahead to produce jingles, messages, in 200 languages, so that every Nigerian will be able to read, understand, the dangers and desist from the act of scooping fuel.
So in the course of doing all these reports, plus other reports you do for the National Orientation Agency, can you share your experiences with us?
Well, yes, the experiences are awesome. The experiences are, I've learned a lot of things. I've been exposed to some of the, in some of the government policies and programs, having details of these programs. Sometimes you may know or hear what government is doing, or a plan that government has brought out, or a policy that government has drafted for a particular thing, or to tackle a particular problem, or to promote a particular thing, but you may not really understand, the nitty-gritty of all of all of that policy. But because I cover the National Orientation Agency, I've been exposed to the details of some of these programs that government come out with, to educate the masses. Even the things that government is doing in terms of reforms, in terms of economic growth, in terms of, revamping the economy and all of that. These are all that government is doing. So covering National Orientation Agency as a correspondent has, given me, advantage to know all of these, and also to interact with Nigerians, to go into the hinterlands, interact with some of our locals, to also see how government, takes some of these reports that come from the locals, from our localities or communities, as it were. Government take them into account. I have been privileged also to meet some other people, journalists from all parts, of the country, as we go out, to cover events. So it has really broadened my horizon. I have really been, meeting people, and also, helping me to do my job well.
Okay, you're also here giving us insights and giving your own quota to make Nigeria better. Thank you so much, Kenneth Lanning, for finding the time to be here. And we hope to see you again sometime soon.
Thank you, Zaret. It's my pleasure.
Right. Education fosters development of any meaningful society. Now stay tuned for details and more.
Fellow Nigerians, this period may be hard on us, and there is no doubt that it's tough on us. But I urge you all to look beyond the present temporary pains and aim at the larger picture. All our good and helpful plans are in the works. More importantly, I know that they will work.
Welcome back. Now to cashew business. Stakeholders in Ogbomosho's cashew production are urging the 3 tiers of government to tap into the economic potential of the crop. Now, they believe that by adding value and leveraging technology, raw cashew nuts can be processed into finished products, creating jobs and boosting the local economy. Abiodun Babalola has more on this story.
Nigeria remains one of the top producers of cocoa beans and cashew nuts, and it is a known fact that every family in Ogbomosho, Oyo State, dedicates a farmland for long-term agricultural investments in cashew crop. In Ogbomosho, home of the best quality cashew, the crop normally ripes for harvesting between February and April every year during the dry season, and this exercise creates job opportunities for the youths.
For example, a single cashew processing factory can accommodate at least 1,000 to 1,200 workers per day.
Apart from eating cashew fruit fresh as food, there are other products that can be extracted from the cashew nut.
We pray by God's grace, this country also will be a country that will be able to be processing cashew ourselves, because we are giving them raw cashew and they are extracting more than 7 to 8 things out of this thing.
Cashew, no doubt, brings appreciable income for the farmers and foreign exchange earnings for the country through the sale of raw cashew nuts.
Many Indians or Vietnamese or Chinese, they used to come down to Ogbomosho to buy the cashew in Ogbomosho.
They will like to buy from Ogbomosho because we have premium quality. The KOR now is 52, 53 KOR from Abuja here only.
It's not easy to carry cashew from one place to another, so we are suffering for all these means of transportation.
Experts say the potential of cashews as economic and valuable crops are yet to be harnessed, hence the need for the government at all levels to pay attention to its steady cultivation.
Abiodun's report sheds light on the stakeholders' call to action for the government to support this initiative, which could have a positive impact on the local economy and community. Great job, Abiodun. And now to education. In the digital age, the rapid advancement of technology and the increasing quest for knowledge have indeed raised expectations for institutions of learning to adapt and evolve. To achieve this, stakeholders insist that harmonization of education standards is crucial for the present-day interconnected world. Let's take a closer look at the education sector, highlighting successes, weaknesses, and way forward. University education globally is built on a foundation of research and development, providing a platform for students and lecturers to explore various areas and generate new ideas. This approach has significantly contributed to shaping societies and communities, driving innovation, informed decisions, and fostering a culture of critical thinking, addressing local needs, and leading to numerous breakthroughs in fields such as medical sciences, agriculture, and technology.
If you consider the 18 points of the sustainable development, there are so many aspects of them. All of those fronts are academics in this university are involved in those researches, whether it's in architecture, in medicine, in the sciences. We have the gender aspects where issues of women in society. We have people working on issues that have priority in our national health fronts, our development, advancements, general community development issues.
These advancements have solidified university education's position at the pinnacle of learning experience. However, stakeholders emphasize that attention must be paid to critical areas to ensure continued progress. They advocate increased investment in infrastructure development, more funding, and staff welfare, as they believe that these are essential components that require improvement to maintain a healthy competition.
Because in this generation, technology plays a very significant role in our delivery of knowledge content. The only challenge we have with environment that makes learning conducive is that we are overcrowded with population of students and our infrastructure is not adequate, I would say not sufficient.
We must all come together, agree, and then say, this is the standard. Let us participate in setting some of these standards, and then let us also be able to check and monitor. Mathematics is mathematics. Business mathematics is business mathematics. Management theory is management theory. Whether University of Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, Zaria, or University of Abuja, you have a guide, you have a standard. And then you, as a lecturer, you are supposed to teach, adhere to this curriculum. And then your own assessment also must be based on this curriculum and what you have taught the student.
Furthermore, the criteria for university creation and admission processes must adhere to standards set by relevant authorities, ensuring that students are well suited for their chosen courses. The consensus here is that when the right policies are made and enforced in Nigerian universities, the outcome becomes a skilled and knowledgeable workforce that drives innovation, fostering economic growth, and providing workable solutions to societal challenges. Now, as we look to the future, it is essential to address the challenges facing the education sector and work towards creating a more harmonized and effective system that prepares students for the demands of the 21st century. And with this, we conclude the program this week. Thank you so much for being part of it, and we hope to see you again same time next week.